going to show you and I forgot. Anyway, there's what we've done. It's not the prettiest job, but there's too much stuff in there to wrap around real well, comfortably, but wrapped it from basically the header back to this mount point. Then there's a heat shield here for the leg that runs up and ends here. Then it's wrapped from here up to the rear mount point. So that'll be pretty good. The other thing we found, I don't know if I can get down in here. Yeah, I can get down in here. Get the camera back in. Yeah, just working down in here. There it is. And there's a bit of clicking going on as well, so I'm just going to order a new axle, replace that axle, and then keep the rest of the bits for parts. That's a new split. That's alright. And as far as the speed sensor that's going on and causing all the problems, I've got it unplugged from the speedometer here. And the bike settles down and runs well without it. You just don't have any speedometer. It won't affect reverse or anything like that. So that's the temporary fix while we wait. There's a guy close by that's parting out an 04. Let's see if we can, if he's got a working one, we'll buy that if it's cheap enough. But I can order one from the States. It's an aftermarket. That's a good price and it's supposed to be a lot stronger. Anyway, keep going on it and we'll get it sorted out. A little bit at a time. A little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. But whatever. A couple other little jobs I'm going to do, and then if things go well, we're going to go up on the mountain this afternoon. And I'm going to put that to work. Clear that first trail we went up. So maybe a video of that playing. But what a gorgeous day. I don't even really need this coat on. God. Wonderful, wonderful. Late February, way into the plus degrees. It's a nice out splash. The old girl is laying out there. Yes, there she is. Talking about you, baby. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Girl. Anyway, we're getting her sorted out a little bit at a time. We haven't come close to the price in parts that it would have cost to buy one that didn't need a little bit of work, so we don't feel too bad about it at all. What's happening? Grab a flashlight. I don't want to lose that. The bike is in somewhat pieces at the moment. What we're after right now is that plug socket and that plug, or the speedometer sensor cable. Runs down through all that rat's nest of wiring, out through that big cable, splits, runs down, and that's it right there. So I'm just going to swap out the new one, or use new one, plug it in there, come in and turn the key on, and see what happens on the speedometer. If you look at the Grand Lake video that we did, Andrea's speedometer was regularly, around 40 miles an hour, even sitting still. The other symptom is it will shut off the bike as soon as you put it in reverse. She managed to do the ride all day by holding down the reverse override button here every time she needed to use reverse, but that's not ideal. She likes to have speedometer, so we're going to fix it. If this cable is no good, then I'll be ordering a aftermarket cable off the internet from the States. It's a much heavier duty, more solid cable than the factory crap. Polaris likes to use super light wires. Jeez. Anyway, we're going to get this beast fixed up. And then after I get the speedometer cable tested, because I have such great access in here, then I will be stopping for a quick breakfast. Then come back out. Probably the next job will be to do the CV boot, pull this cap, pull the hub and brake rotor, drop the A-arm so that everything slides off the shaft, and then cut off the old one and use the special tool we've got for slipping the new one on over it. So that's the plan. Okay, so really quick, I have got the new speedometer cable installed. You'll see the old one's just sitting here, running through the wire, and I ran it up, plugged her in. So let's turn on the key, see what happens. Nothing. Not a bad thing. So somebody's going to be somewhat happy, I would say. If I wasn't sitting on jack stands, I'd throw it in reverse just to see. I'm not going to jack up the back end too, so looks good. So I guess I'll have to rerun the wiring, cut off the old one, and then get back at her. All right. Well, it's taken a little longer than I would have liked, but that was caused because we bought those nice universal boot kits that we talked about here, and they're almost twice too big for the hub end of the axle and the CV end. On the axle side, they fit fine. So I got it all on, and I had to take it all off because I couldn't get it to cinch up tight. So they're obviously not universal. However, we are making some progress. I have an all balls boot kit on there, and that's all done. We're in there. Of course, we grease the swing arm. Brakes are good, speedometer's still working, and everything's torqued back up. So next step, oh, I didn't show you this. This here had cracked. This is one of the pod holders. So I've got some JB weld going on. This one here was broken, so I'm trying to build up a big base for it to go in. Might have to grind that just a little bit, but then I'm gonna drill a pilot hole through it and use a self tapper. And that should hold it pretty good. And what else? Just about ready to start the pump. Haven't decided yet if I'm pulling the whole tank off or not. I don't think I'm going to, because I don't think we're going to bother trying to put any more insulation on that tank, at least as this step. One correction at a time. I think the reason we're doing the fuel pump is all reports suggest that that fuel pump is basically gone. And what happens when it gets, because it sits straight down in here, this it's right under here. You can see maybe a little bit of the corner where it's bolted in, and that's where the power wire is there to power it. So it goes straight down in here. So what happens when it gets down low on fuel, it gets very, very hot. The reason it's getting hot isn't all because of heat from here, which is what I initially thought. The reason it's getting so hot is the fuel pump is old, and apparently they create a lot of heat. So we're getting a lot of gas vapors coming out through this vent line up here. Andrea can see them when she's riding. In a couple of videos, you'll see her loosen her gas cap off, letting pressure off in the tank. Because there's just so much pressure building up. But anyway, if you don't keep an eye on it, it's been vapor locking the bike. So some of the other issues we thought were attributable to the TBAP sensor are actually attributable to hopefully the fuel pump, according to what everybody says. So I'm going to pull that out, just deciding how in-depth I want to go at the moment. And I'm thinking probably the easiest solution, everybody says you don't have to pull the, get this up out of the way, don't have to pull the whole tank out. You can just basically take the air breather off for the clutch and slide the whole thing right out and fix it there. So that's probably the route I'm going to attempt if I run into problems, and I'll have to get back to you. Okay, so what I ended up doing was using the fuel pump that was in the bike to pump out most of the fuel that was in the tank. There's still probably about 3 or 4 inches in the bottom, but no big deal. What I noticed when that was happening was the line coming out was full of air. And I can't see how having air in your fuel line, like a lot of bubbles, is good for your system. Your fuel system is supposed to be a closed loop. It shouldn't be injecting air. The other thing I've seen is there should be a filter on the bottom of this filter, a sock type filter. So this is the old pump. I'm going to pull this off. Regulators, this is the regulator here. This is the float system here. So got to be fairly careful with how we manhandle all this. See what we got for clamps. So I don't know how come it had to be introducing air because of a fault in the pump. Get these clips off. Figure out how to put a new clip on there while I'm doing it. But I'm not going to torture you with the process. I will just bring you back and show you what the end result is. So, any questions? You can hear it's running. Don't have the breather cover back on or the tank in place or anything, but it's running fabulously compared to what it was running like before. So I would say that's going to be a problem solved. Can't guarantee it's going to fix the heating problem, but it's definitely going to help smooth out the running because we're out of gas, as you can see on it. It's not a surprise because I drained it, but it's running fabulously compared to what it ran like before. Smoothed it right out. It's not gulping, starving. And I think the reason it was doing some of that, when the pump was failing, it was starting to inject air into the fuel line. And you start sending fuel bubbles through to your fuel injectors, it doesn't work so well. It doesn't work well in a carbureted engine either, but in an injection system, it's just not good. So I think we're on the right track to sorting this bad boy out. And the beauty is we're still way under spent money to value. And we're turning this into a pretty solid machine for her. And she gets her Polaris ride. She gets her power that she likes. And we're doing it at a real economical budget. Well, yeah, I had the brake off, and I had to take the clamp and open up the caliper and everything, right? So that sounds so much better. That sounds so much better. Yeah, it's smooth. No brakes! didn't last long.
Nothing.
What?
No, it just started not as smooth as it was, right? So it's kind of like what's that? That really sucks. The speedo's dead already. It's at least
Did it work?
I don't know.
Okay, so it's not causing reverse override, but
No, because what was doing that is because it was showing me
Yeah.
doing like 30,
yeah,
and it would shut the bike off.
the fact that it's dead isn't a huge issue. I mean, we'll get another one because I know you want a speedometer, but
It's peppier.
not a surprise. Should run cooler too. Should run cooler too.